Man, we got some great games this week. Pretty entertaining week. Almost all the games, I would say, were up to par with expectations. Seeing the Broncos lose, get blown out, not typically my ideal Sunday. And then getting to see the Chiefs win on Monday is not a boost, I'll tell you that. But either way, we're going to get into this and break these games down. Thursday night, we're going to kick it off with the Texans going to New York to play the Jets. And I would say a lot of people were not expecting the Jets to have a chance in this game. Not really sure why. Nico Collins out, Stephon Diggs out, a couple of O-linemen out. How do you not pick the Jets on this game? The Texans would not be able to do much offensively for this game. And this game was a lot closer than it should have been. But either way, I just couldn't see myself picking the Texans for this game. It just didn't make sense for me. CJ Stroud, 11 for 30, 191. Didn't have a crazy great game. Didn't have a bad game. But he just didn't do enough. Joe Mixon played great again, 106, a touchdown with, I believe, he actually didn't have any catches. Interesting. With Aaron Rodgers on the other side going 2-11, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Breece Hall, 15 for 74. So roughly about the same around with Joe Mixon. Tank Dell, pretty much the only option for CJ Stroud for this game. 6 catches, 126. Only 3 people caught the ball for the Texans. Robert Woods and Dalton Schultz. That's it. Devontae Adams had finally kind of his breakout game. 7 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Garrett Wilson had an insane touchdown. Pretty much to help, I would say, kind of close this game out. Devontae Adams' touchdown also did that, but Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams if they play like that every game, the Jets may revive this season. That was insane. Great game by the Jets at home. Redemption game. This was kind of like a revive the season or, tank the rest of the season, honestly. So, big win for them. Let's see if they can continue this win streak. Next, we have the Cowboys going into Atlanta. And let me say that this game was a lot closer than it should have been. The Falcons came up winning this game by 6 points, just by a one-score game. Dak Prescott ended up getting hurt with his hamstring and most likely might miss the rest of the season with the surgery. He was 18 for 24, 133 and a touchdown. He wasn't playing terrible, wasn't playing great. But you do need to do a little bit better when you're playing the Falcons with that stat line. Cooper Rush came in, 13 for 25, 115 and a touchdown. Pretty much identical play. Kirk Cousins, 19 for 24, 222 and 3 touchdowns, no picks. Great game by Kirk Cousins. Rico Dowdle, 12 for 75, 6.3 carry. Zeke did not play this game because he was being sat down for disciplinary reasons that were not disclosed. And Bijan, 19 for 86, no touchdowns. Pretty solid game on the run for both these teams. Jake Ferguson led the team in in yards, 71 yards. Darnell Mooney had 88 with a touchdown. Ray-Ray McCloud had a touchdown, and Drake London also had a touchdown. So, spread the ball quite a bit for the Falcons here. I'm not really sure how the defense for the Falcons kind of let this game get this close. This was a game they should have easily been blowing out the Cowboys. But all I gotta say is luckily the Cowboys had a couple dudes hurt because this game would have definitely been different. But either way, big game for the Falcons to win at home. Next, we have the Dolphins going into Buffalo. Division game, really big game, close game. Tua, 231, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Josh Allen, 235, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert combined for 119 and a touchdown. James Cook, Ty Johnson, Ray Davis only combined for 83 yards. So the run game for the Dolphins was working. For Buffalo, when Josh Allen only has 7 rushing yards, I feel like that's why the game is close. Tyreek had 80, no touchdowns. Devon Achane pretty much was their offense for this game, 58 and a touchdown. Ray Davis, 70 yards on a 63-yard catch and run, plus a touchdown. So this game was just pretty close. Pretty much everyone is, getting an opportunity for this game. As you can see, the amount of receptions for the Bills, a lot of receptions for the Dolphins, a lot of players. Balls being spread around pretty evenly for this game, and the defense for the Bills, honestly, is pretty solid to be able to contain Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle has been such a big letdown, I think, this season. He has not been able to do much, for Tua or whoever's playing quarterback. He has not been able to help out his quarterback. But either way, big division win for the Bills. I'm pretty sure the Dolphins season is now officially over. Next, we had the Raiders going into Cincinnati for, pretty much a big blowout. Gardner Minshew had 10 for 17, 124. Didn't really do anything. Desmond Ridder kind of went in there for garbage time just to kind of see what the Raiders have in him. Joe Burrow, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, 251. Run game for the Raiders was pretty pathetic. 60 total yards and 130 for the Bengals. Chase Brown, kind of a sleeper, I would say, as a weapon. Not just for the Bengals, but just in general. As you can see, 27, 120. They ran the ball. 198 total receiving yards, when 105 of those are from Jacoby Myers. The other half, I would say 25% is from Brock Bowers. The other 25% is pretty much from everyone else. Mike Gesicki had a great game, 5 for 102 touchdowns. And Chase Brown, 37 plus a touchdown. So, nothing really to go off here. Nothing really to go off of here. It's just that the Bengals offense was pretty much on point and was able just to complete these drives. As you can see here, they pretty much scored 2 times every quarter. Touchdown, 10 points, 14, 10. So, pretty expected win. Nothing really surprises anyone in this game, but good one for the Bengals. Next, we have the Chargers going into Cleveland. The Browns had a pretty big upset last week versus the Ravens, and I think a lot of people kind of rode that hype a little bit too hard. Justin Herbert, 282, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Jameis Winston, 26 for 235, a touchdown, 3 picks. J.K. Dobbins had a great game, 14 carries for 85 yards, 2 touchdowns with 20 receiving yards. Nick Chubb, 15 for 39. I'm not really sure why he's getting a little, he's not really getting a good opportunity right now. So I don't really like how they're giving him that many carries in bad situations. Quentin Johnson, 118, a touchdown, had a great game. Ladd McConkey, 5 for 64. And Joshua Palmer had that other touchdown. Cedric Tillman still leading the receiving corps, seeming to be receiver 1. Jerry Jeudy still can't make that leap to being wide receiver 1. So I think he's a bust. He's not trash, but I feel like he thinks of himself too high. He's not a wide receiver 1. He's a wide receiver 2 and 3 on most teams. On some teams, he's a 4. So it is what it is. Defense for the Chargers, obviously great, getting 3 turnovers. But, yeah, nothing really they weren't going to do 2 upsets back-to-back. You know, it's an interesting game when the Patriots and Titans toilet bowl actually becomes entertaining. Drake May, 206, a touchdown, 2 picks. Mason Rudolph, 240, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Drake May also led the team in rushing by a landslide with 95 total rushing yards. Tony Pollard, 28 for 128. Hunter Henry led the team in receiving with 56. And Calvin Ridley led the team for the Titans in receiving. This game was just horrible. Like, this game should have been a tie. Like I said, toilet bowl. Both teams were trying to find ways to lose this game, and ultimately it was the Patriots at the end. But, yeah, big division win, I guess. Not division. I'm tripping. Big win for the Titans to beat the Patriots here, but, man, was this one of the most boring games of the season. Even though this went to overtime, it just felt like no one was trying to win this game, and everyone was playing scared. Like, both of y'all are not going to the playoffs. I don't know why y'all aren't going for it on 4th down or, trying to score points. It is what it is. Either way, big win for the Titans and really tough loss for the Patriots. Next, we have a division game for the NFC East, a little bit closer than I and pretty much everyone else imagined. Jane Daniels, 209, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Daniel Jones, 174, 2 touchdowns and no picks. When Chris Rodriguez Jr. is leading the Commanders in rushing, you know that it's a little strange. Teron Tracy Jr. is a very underrated running back. A big steal as a rookie in the 5th round, looking to take over Devin Singletary's spot. Seems like he already did, but man, he's underrated. Noah Brown, 60 yards. Malik Neighbors, 59 yards. This game was close. 1-score game. This game was back and forth. And I would say pretty much it came down to whoever kind of defense was going to make the last stand. And, ultimately it was the Commanders' big win. And honestly, the Giants have been losing a lot of close games. And that kind of sucks because they're getting a lot of hate thrown towards them when they have a really young offense. It's just Daniel Jones. I think if they had a better quarterback, maybe one more weapon, this is a completely different team. So I would say keep an eye out for the Giants next year if they move on from Daniel Jones, because they have a roster. Next, we have the Saints going to Carolina, division game. Panthers with, I would say, a bit of an upset. Derek Carr, 236 and a touchdown, no picks. Bryce Young, 171, a touchdown and a pick. Alvin Kamara, 29 carries, 155. Taysom Hill came back, got a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. Had some big plays, and I think is the MVP of this game. Alvin Kamara also had 60 yards. Well, MVP because the Panthers won. I think in general, obviously it's Kamara. He was doing pretty much everything for the Saints. Not to mention Chris Olave getting absolutely killed by a horrible pass by Derek Carr. Jatavion Sanders led the Panthers in receiving, rookie tight end out of UT. And Xavier Legette has another touchdown. So pretty underrated. He's starting to become more involved, obviously, because there's no one else to throw the ball to. Let's just get this out the way, man. The Saints losing this game shows where their defense is at. The Panthers beat them with no receivers. And who's throwing to the receivers? Bryce Young. Man. But if I'm a Saints fan, I'm killing myself. That's horrible. You can't do that. You cannot let the Panthers, with that type of offense, do that. Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard, their only running back that was used this game. And a rookie tight end and Xavier Leggett, a rookie receiver, cooked y'all. Next we have the Jags going into Philadelphia for a really, really close game. The Eagles' offensive play calling by Nick Sirianni, horrible. They could have had 3 extra points, make this, a 2-score game. Instead, an 8-point game. Trevor Lawrence, 169, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Jalen Hurts, 230, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Travis Etienne and the rest of the Jacksonville rushing attack, only 60 total yards. Saquon had 27, 159, and a touchdown. Jalen Hurts had 67 and a touchdown. Evan Ingram led the team in receiving with 45 yards. Devontae Smith led the team in receiving 87 yards and a touchdown after A.J. Brown went down, I believe, sometime in the third quarter. Defense for the Eagles held up when they needed to, but man, Saquon is the MVP of this game. He had a total of 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. Give this man his flowers for being consistent. This guy, I'm so glad I picked him up in fantasy. The fact that he was available at the time I picked him up, between him and Jonathan Taylor, the fact that I was deciding and contemplating who to pick. Man, if I would have picked Jonathan Taylor, I would have been so pissed. Next, we have the Bears going into Arizona for a pretty big blowout. I'd say a blowout of the week. Well, we'll get to that one later, actually. Caleb Williams, 217, no touchdowns, no picks. Kyler Murray, 154, no touchdowns, no picks. James Conner, on the other hand, 107, no touchdowns. And the backup running backs for the Cardinals both had touchdowns. Denver Swift had 51, no touchdowns. That's pretty much it on that side. They lost Khalil Herbert in a trade to the Bengals. Trey McBride led the team in receiving with 35. And Rome Odunze, 104, no touchdowns. This game was just defensive man stops, getting field goals here and there, and a safety at the end. The Cardinals just slowly won this game. The Bears just couldn't get anything going. Nothing really to go on here. It was just a blowout. The Bears didn't play great. Cardinals played good enough. Next we have the Lions going into Green Bay division game, and Jared Goff played okay. He didn't play great. 145 and a touchdown. Jordan Love didn't really play that great. 273, no touchdowns and a pick. Montgomery and Gibbs combined 138 and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs 95, and Emmanuel Wilson had the rushing touchdown. Amon St. Brown, 56 and a touchdown. Jaden Reed, 113, no touchdowns, were the leading receivers for both teams. Defensively on the Lions, they just made it tough on the Packers. They couldn't get points going for them. They only had 1 touchdown, and it was at the end of the game. Up until then, it was just 6 to 24. So pretty dominant win, I'd say, for the Lions, especially on a division away game. And they played a really good defense. So the thing I was talking about last week, Lions are legit this year. Packers, tough loss. Next, we have the Rams going into Seattle division game as well. The game was a lot closer than it should have been. Matthew Stafford, 298, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Geno Smith, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for 363. Kyren Williams had his worst game of the year, 69 total yards. Well, he had about 100, but Kenneth Walker, only 83, no touchdowns. Cooper Kupp had 104, no touchdowns. Marcus Robinson had 94 and 2 touchdowns. And Puka got ejected for throwing a punch, I believe. So that was a big loss for the Rams. I feel like this game would not have went into overtime if that didn't happen. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 182 touchdowns. He just made some stupid catches. Not sure how the Rams defense was not able to contain him at the end when he's literally their one of two weapons. Tyler Lockett, 3 catches, 63 and a touchdown. This game went into overtime. Rams went down the field and won this game. But man, was this close. This was a very, very, very close game. Either way, big win for the Rams. Next we had the Colts going into Minnesota. Joe Flacco, not a great game, 179, no touchdowns and a pick. Sam Darnold, 290, 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. Jonathan Taylor only had 48 total rushing yards. Aaron Jones and Cam Akers had a combined 110, so pretty solid run game for the Vikings there. Josh Downs probably had his best game in the last maybe year and a half with 60 yards, no touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, insane game with 137, no touchdowns. Josh Oliver and Jordan Addison both got a touchdown along with Jalen Naylor. So they're 2, 3, and 4 receivers all got touchdowns. This was just a defensive game, honestly, for the Vikings. Able to contain them. Colts just couldn't do nothing offensively. This game was, pretty close at the half. Colts leading 7-0. And then the Vikings just kind of, kicked things off and able to close this win out because this is a game that should not have been that close. Next we had the Bucs going into Kansas City and almost pulling off a huge upset. Another game that the Chiefs win by 1 score. Baker had 2 touchdowns, 200 yards. Patrick Mahomes, 291, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Bucky Irving and the rest of the Bucs rushing core, no real touchdown, no insane rushing stats. Rashad White did have a touchdown though. Kareem Hunt, 106 and a touchdown, is proving to be a very solid running back. Not sure how he was still a free agent, but of course the Chiefs get to pick him up. Cade Otton, 77 and a touchdown, should have had 2. Travis Kelce, 100, no touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins had his, kind of breakout game, 86 and 2 touchdowns. Samaje Perine had a little dump off, 2-yard touchdown. Defense for both teams was insane. They were either giving up big plays or completely making insane stops. Once this game went into overtime, once the Bucs score at the end of this game in the fourth quarter, I'm not sure why they did not go for 2. Because it's why would you give the Chiefs, who are overtime kings, a chance? When you have a chance to win the game. They played a little bit too scared. I feel like that really showed how scared they were. Honestly, I think they get the 2-point conversion here. Honestly, I do. Chiefs should have lost this game, man. They get these 1-score wins, man, and it pisses me off. It really does. I did forget to mention, the only teams on bye this week were the Steelers and the 49ers. Not going to really go too much on this game because there's nothing really to go off of. The first half was a lot closer than people realize. This game got out of hand extremely quickly. Not even really going to go off of stats here because I'm just going to tell you how this game got out of hand quickly. We went for it on 4th and inches on a stupid toss play to Javonte Williams, our power back, instead of, someone who's fast like Jaleel McLaughlin. Not really sure why we went with a toss on 4th and inches. So we don't get that. If we do, we at least get 3 points because we are in close field goal range. Our very next drive, we go for it on 4th and 4 around the 45-yard line. And we overthrow a wide open receiver in the end zone. That's a potential 7 points. So we could at least get 10 points at that particular time. And instead, we give them a touchdown. So instead of us getting 20 total points, potentially 24 points, we come out with 0 and end the half with only 10. And instead, the Baltimore Ravens, we're not beating them by 3 points, or we're not beating them by 7. Instead, we're losing to them by 7. They come out the half, get points right away. And then at that point, it's 21-10. We don't do anything. They get the ball again, score. At that point, the game is out of hand. 2 drives that if we convert those 4th downs, it's a completely different game. We honestly might have won. But instead, we let Lamar Jackson go off, Derrick Henry go off, and we don't do anything offensively. Zay Flowers absolutely cooked our secondary. Pretty pathetic loss. Next, we're going on to picks of the week. This last week, I did get only one incorrect, and that was the Panthers-Saints game, so had almost a flawless week. Pretty proud about that. But let's get on to week 10. For Thursday night, I do have the Ravens winning in Baltimore against the Bengals there. We have a Germany game, 8:30 in the morning. I do have the Giants beating the Panthers. I would not be surprised at all if the Panthers blow out the Giants. I have the Patriots losing in Chicago against the Bears. I do have the Bills winning in Indianapolis. I have the Broncos unfortunately losing against the Chiefs. I do hope we upset them. It is in Kansas City. I have the Falcons beating the Saints in New Orleans. They don't have Chris Olave. I do have the 49ers beating the Bucs. This game, honestly, is going to be pretty close, I think. See if Christian McCaffrey does play. We have the Steelers in Washington. I do have the Commanders winning that game. I think this is also going to be a great game. The Vikings going into Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, I believe, is not playing this game. Mac Jones is going to be the starter. I do have the Vikings winning that. The Titans going into LA to face the Chargers. I have the Chargers all day. Titans should not win this game. Philadelphia is going into Dallas. I have the Eagles. New York Jets going into Arizona. I have the Jets. This is going to be a 50-50 toss-up, so it could go either way. Detroit going into Houston. This could be a really close game, but I do have the Lions winning this. And then Monday night, we have Miami going into LA to face the Rams. I have the Rams, but man, is this going to be a great game. So we'll see how all that goes. Either way, guys, this was Week 9 review, Week 10 picks. Hopefully I get another great week worth of picks. Currently, I am at my highest that I've been, 72%. That's a pretty high number. So hopefully I can maintain that, even raise it even up. Either way, I will see y'all next week. I'm not even going to promise the video to be out sooner. I do it every week and I have not lived up to that, so that's my bad. Either way, thank you guys for watching.